And we are rolling. Ciao guys, welcome to the ARTFUL Podcast. My name is Matteo, I'm gonna be your host. In this podcast we're gonna talk about art and artists. First of all, I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm an artist. I live in Bristol, UK, and this in episode number 1 we're gonna talk about a little bit on my story and how I got here and how I end up doing art full time. I lived in Italy. I'm from Italy, south of Italy, and I left Italy because I never really felt there was my place, there was enough for me. I come from a quite small town. We are around, if I don't get it wrong, around 100,000 people. So it's not too little, but at the same time there is not much opportunity there, especially for what I wanted to do. I knew I always wanted to be an artist. I never really took it seriously until a few years ago. But anyway, I left Italy to go study English because obviously I knew that was the main language spoken in the world, and I wanted to be able to speak clearly with everybody I met in my way. So we organized a one-way trip. Me and my family organized a one-way trip to Malta, where I studied there for a month English, and then I worked for 5-6 months, and it was my first experience outside. I never really left Italy for that long. It was always for like school trip and stuff like that. So I was at the I remember clearly at the beginning. I was really excited. I was really scared, but I never regret my choice, that's for sure. I chose to leave Italy. I knew it was not going to be easy because I never had really a plan B. Anyway, I remember I have so many good memories of Malta. I have so many, I wouldn't say bad, but challenging moment where obviously even the only thing of cooking for yourself or every day, obviously growing up, I was quite young as well, so growing up I always had my mum or my auntie to they were cooked for me. Even the little things like that, washing your clothes and stuff like that, it was always I didn't really think about that till I had to do it. Even when I left Italy, I didn't really think about that kind of stuff. I don't know, I didn't really assume it was going to happen with like obviously if I didn't do it, but I didn't really give them much thought. And it was challenging. It was definitely a good experience, and I always recommend people to live and go traveling and do all those kind of experience for yourself, because it changes you, it makes you more complete as a person, and will understand a lot more of what's going on and how people can be. But anyway, I left. Unfortunately, I had to leave Malta because I knew it was not going to be forever, because it's a summer place, and is after like September, October, the place is dead, and nobody really lives there if you're not from Malta or you're not established in Malta for like a long time. So as a young kid, I couldn't really pay and afford to pay like a place for me. I was working, but I wasn't really earning that much, so I had to come back to Italy I tried to stay there, but I couldn't. I tasted what living by yourself, independence was. So I couldn't come back and stay in my home, because I knew I wanted to live by myself and stay and make my decision. So I contacted a friend of mine that was living in the UK, and I asked how was there and if there was any chance I could leave Italy and go where he was and maybe stay there for a bit. And he said there was no problem. He was really happy to welcome me in his house. I stayed there for a few months, and I could never thanks enough these my two friends that gave me a place to stay when obviously I didn't knew anyone. They give me the chance to realize my dream of leaving Italy. So I stay in the house for a few months. I was going to leave, but then I end up staying in the same house for till now, so it will be 7 years. Obviously, they left in England at some point, and I end up staying in Bristol for this long. I was not planning to stay in Bristol and the UK in particular for this long, because I don't know, I wanted to just improve my English. Obviously, what better place than UK. So I did not plan to stay here this long, but I felt in love with the place. I really enjoy living here. I know I'm not gonna stay here forever, but I start working, obviously, and that took me years to just be comfortable with. I worked and still working a day a week in hospitality. I was a KP, kitchen porter, dish guy, and then I moved to the bar. I did waitering. It was I don't like it, but it's a good job, quite easy job to just secure some money, make sure I have some money to pay the bills, and that's why I'm still doing it once a week, just to make sure I do have money. Anyway, I would say I didn't plan to stay in Bristol this long, but while I was working on my first job here in Bristol, I met my girlfriend, which we're still together. It's been an amazing relationship. So obviously that took me time to be here, and then I start, thanks to her actually, because she knew I wanted to be an artist and I wanted to do this as a profession, and she pushed me a lot on taking the decision to put my energy and my effort in doing art all the time. I was always drawing, I was always painting, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I was just, I don't know, I think I was thinking as a hobby, as a passion, but not really it could be my profession. And she pushed me on starting studying. So basically it was a way for me to get into the mental state of doing this as a job. So because I had a diploma as a graphic design, we tried straight away on studying at university. So I applied for university. Luckily I didn't get a job at the time. That pushed me, even if I was devastated after. I took as a sign for me to not doing this as a profession. It was really hard for me, but it was really good because it pushed me, and my girlfriend pushed me on non give up and basically find another way to starting this path. So we find like art design foundation level 3 course in college, City Bristol College, and it was the one of the best thing ever happened to me. I really enjoyed that course. It opened my mind. I always say to people that course saved me, as I was not in a good place. I was working 50, I remember, to 60 hours a week as a waiter, which was good for money, but I wasn't happy. I was stressed all the time. I was having discussion all the time. It wasn't working for me. There, I remember the year really well because I was working full time, and the course was full time. I was not stop for 1 year straight. I was working and studying 7 days a week, 24 hours. It was really hard. It was challenging. It was my first experience. Let's remember that was my first experience as work, like studying in English. So I had to do essay, I had to do writing, I had to explain concept of my art and to my class and stuff. So it was really stressful all the time. But I remember the feeling of me wanted to wake up in the morning and doing that. So I was really excited all the time. That's why I think that really changed me. After the year, I applied for university, go 2 places in 2 different universities, and I ended up doing UE, the University West of England, because I felt it was a good mix of subjects, and he had more facilities if I wanted to explore different way of creating my art. That brings me to this big chapter of my life. There was 3 years of university, and I will say they were fantastic. I loved. It was really stressful, especially the writing bits, because I've never been a good writer, and especially in my second language. But it was fantastic. It was open-minded. Everyone was super friendly, super nice. If I had the problem and I had to ask my classmates and my teachers, everyone was super helpful. It really opened my mind on how I see my art and how I do my art, because I remember the 3rd year, it just clicked in my mind, and I can see from the 1st and the 2nd year that I was doing art, but I was doing it just randomly. So I didn't have a concept. It was not organized in expressing what I wanted to say. In the 3rd year, which it was really a game change for me, I start thinking of creating a series, having a concept, a solid concept behind, and that's when I started one of my biggest series, the I Am series, where I draw and presenting immigrants through my art to the public, which I'm still doing. It basically it's been going on for through 2 years now. Anyway, it was really good. The university was really a good way for me to present myself as an artist to the world, and I started doing exhibition quite early. Even I think my first exhibition was in 2016, so it will be in my first year of university. And yeah, I think that's the best way for an artist to put yourself out there, get people to know you. It's really good. I recommend to everyone to start doing it. So getting into the exhibition world, into the galleries, it opened a door for me, because I got really into curating. I really like curating and the backstage, what it goes behind the curtains on exhibition. So all organizing, the all contacting people, contacting the artists, putting up the artworks. It's so thrilling for me. It's really exciting, and you end up spending days to thinking about how to do that. I organized a couple exhibitions. I wanted to talk better about my last one in another episode, but really quickly, it was quite a good success as a first good, well-organized exhibition. I curated the whole exhibition, so I organized the open night, and then I asked my good friend Kevin to play there, so we had like music. I put up all the artworks on the wall and try to make a flow all around the room. We spent 9 hours straight on doing that, and it was super fun. It was really fun. I definitely gonna do that more. I'm gonna do more exhibition as soon, obviously, all this coronavirus. I decide to doing the podcast because I wanted to find a good way just a nice way to talk about art without being too serious. It's gonna be super fun, super exciting, talking about all different artists, and it's for me, it's a free space where I can talk about anything I wanted to say and express myself in freedom, and hopefully like people that will come on will do that as well. We'll talk about art and artists with as much freedom we want. It's been a long process since I left Italy till now. A lot of things happens which I want to talk about more in depth in the future, but for now I just wanted to give an general introduction about myself and how I got here and why I'm doing this podcast. I really hope you enjoy it, and thank you for listening. And from the Artful Podcast, we are out. Thank you.